The Supreme Court declared racial segregation in schools to be unconstitutional in the ruling of Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. However, nowadays there are no such things as separate but equal, but there are still a lot of things that can show segregation still exists nowadays. A lot of schools in America right now has a lot more population of white students compared to African American students, and it is according to the study that there are more than half of the nation's school students are in racially concentrated districts, where over 70% of students are either white or non-white. Segregation persists in the 21st century. The study shows that while the public overwhelmingly supports integrated schools, only a third of Americans want federal government intervention to enforce it. So it is, although nowadays the white supremacy is not as strong as in the civil rights era and in 1800, there are still a lot of people think that white people should receive better education compared to black people, and they should have higher social status. And the term apartheid schools is used to describe still existing largely segregated schools, where in the school white students make up 0 to 10% of the student body, and this phenomenon, I think it reflects the residential segregation in cities and communities across the country, which is not created by overtly racial laws, but by local ordinances that target minorities disproportionately. So nowadays there are still it is very obvious to see that white people often live in certain districts and black people often live in certain districts. So although there's no such laws or rules to say that black people cannot live in the white people's districts, but the white community oftentimes they reject black people to enter their community because they think that white community is safer and they're more well educated, and they deserve to have a higher social status compared to black people. And it is the same as when those people send their children to schools, and that's why a lot of schools have a large proportion of white students instead of black students. And according to Liz C. Bowley and Dennis D. Parker in the 2018 op-ed essay, that no one is really talking about school segregation anymore, but that's a shame because an abundance of research shows that integration is still one of the most effective tools that we have for achieving racial equity.